Arrendor is on the brink of upheaval. For centuries, the clan struggled against giants until 400 years ago, when dragons crossed the Great Sea, forcing them to unite and build the 10 Bastions. As the threat faded, the clans fractured into the 10 Kingdoms, and all but the last Bastion were abandoned. As ancient calamities stir and darkness rises in the east, my 4 champions must rise up to unite the kingdoms, restore the Bastions, uncover their secrets, and stand against this darkness as a declaration of war.
Calagon Dör. I will discover the secrets of my lineage and cement my legacy as one of the greatest adventurers of all time.
Cleave still in here. The migration of the dragons forced the migration of peoples and beasts, which brings death. We're all invasive species now. I won't let us become extinct ones.
The name's Rodrick Elwood, the voice of this generation, and the greatest performer in the world. Oh, and you should see me with a bow.
And I, Arlyn Dursalai, searching for my father's sword, Trident, to bring justice to these lands. Together, we are the Four Horsemen.
And this is Divine Inspiration.
Hello and welcome back, guys! Clearly everybody's excited tonight. Well, hopefully you guys are just as excited. We love you guys. Welcome back, you beautiful people. My name is Tristan, and as always, it is an absolute pleasure getting to be here, getting to serve as the game master for the Four Horsemen. Now, as we settle in, I would like to make just a couple minor announcements. The first of which is the most important. For today's stream, as I did spend quite a lot of time with my own updates that I'm looking forward to releasing here soon, but we have a merch store now, guys.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of fun things coming. We got different plans coming out from everybody here. Everybody's put their heads together and really just come up with some creative things. So we're very excited to see what starts to come. So definitely be on the lookout for the coming weeks as we start dropping more and more items in there. Beyond that, we're just honestly, actually, you know what? I'll leave it at that for the time being. So with that being said, go ahead and gather around, get comfy, and enjoy as we tell stories of legend as told by Divine Inspiration. Now, last we left off, our wonderful group of adventurers, known as the Four Horsemen, had gathered together to find their way to a certain town known as Rudon Village. Here within Rudon, they were met immediately by a massive, this hulking red dragonborn that introduced himself as Rodrick. And Rodrick took surprisingly well to them. He showed them around a little bit, brought them into his guild, the Waking Dawn, which they had previously encountered members of. And there they met with Ira and Rowan Oakley, as well as a few others, including, eventually, the guild leader himself, or at least one of two, his name being Iman of Dragos. He described a little bit about his place of origin, if you will, specifically that he and his people were known as Dragon Slayers. Unfortunately, as part of this conversation, it seems to have leaked out that our group is actually allied with at least one dragon, which he didn't seem to take all too well to. Keeping everything relatively tactful, everyone seemingly ended the night on generally good terms, set to their separate ways, and after some brief talks with Rumgar and one another, they decided that they would still kind of stay on the lookout. And so Cleave took first watch as he set up outside of the bedroom that they had all been given for the night and started pacing the halls as Rumgar laid now fast asleep against the doorway. With that, Cleave, as you can hear the slight bickering down the hall of two siblings that are very familiar to you. Different shouts coming from within a room downstairs. It otherwise seems quiet, aside from the burning and crackling of torches and that main central kind of fireplace down at the base of the guild hall. tracking back and forth for a few hours now, you find yourself getting fairly tired, and you look around and see that it's definitely deep within the night at this point. So much so that you feel it's come to a good enough time for closure as far as your...
Pass the torch.
That's right.
All right. I want to go and wake up my old friend Calagon Dör.
Is it my turn?
If you wanted to take next, I actually wanted to take this opportunity to just talk to you for a minute. If you want to step outside really fast.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. What's going on?
Come on. So, yeah, we step outside the door.
Make a stealth check to avoid waking Rumgar, who's right at the doorway.
Oh, true.
Me too, or just him?
Yes, the both
Okay.
of you. Speaking of which, I need my dice.
Well,
I hit him with my tail on the way out. That's what it... Let's see.
I imagine intentionally.
No.
he just rolled the
Not until... Oh, 7, actually. But
total of
Okay,
7.
I'll be totally quiet. Yeah, stay asleep, little Rumgar.
I'm
19,
tired. I just woke
but-
up.
Yeah.
You said 19?
Yeah.
19 and you said 7? Okay.
I'm rubbing the crust out of my eyes.
Dang. I was really hoping that would wake him.
Okay.
Well, luckily, Rumgar, you hear this light little like... And as you look over, his head kind of drops for a second and just knocks back into the corner of the doorpost. As you can see, he is clearly just entirely out of it from his exhausting day of trying to keep pace with you lot.
Okay. And I'm going to close the door really quietly.
All right. Well, we made it out anyway.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Look, Calagon. I don't know. This might take me a second to get around to, but just bear with me. There are things about myself that I hold very close to my heart. All right, things that I consider intrinsic parts of who I am. Things like how I try to be amiable to and helpful to whoever I meet, and that I think that basically everybody is already deserves to be respected until they prove otherwise. Or like that I want to preserve life everywhere that I go, right?
Yes.
Just as near and close to my heart as any one of those things is the fact that I really do think that you are great, that you're one of the coolest, best people around, that you can do anything that you want to.
Cleave, I appreciate that, man, but I feel like something's on your heart.
Yeah, so these, all those first traits that I named have been coming at odds with that last one for the last few days, for the last day. And I didn't know how to reconcile. Part of the reason, the first reason I thought you were so cool was just because I saw you, because I thought you were cool because you were like the things that I like to study. I thought that was great that you were part dragon, whatever that might be. And other people look at you, and they look at me for the same reason, and they say, this is a creature of disgust. This is something not worth respect, and not worth being helpful to, and all those other things that I try to be. Not worth preserving its life. That's how people view us. But that's never how you viewed me. Even from the first time when I inconvenienced you, you were always welcoming and kind to me, and you've allowed me to live in your house, and this is why I've respected you so greatly all this time. And now, when I see an opportunity to do for this child what you had done for me all those years ago, and I see the way that you respond when somebody says something like, we're doing this for his safety, and you pause, and you don't value it, it's like I don't know what to feel.
Well, the thing is, Cleave, things are different now. And ever since we took on this oath, I guess you can say, I feel like I have been a little bit more selfish, but not towards myself, towards the four of us. It's not an easy thing we're going to do. And I guess when I see even Barry try to join, it hurts my heart, because part of me feels like maybe we might not make it out. But you're right. You're right. I haven't been myself lately. This This adventuring life is different than what I pictured.
It is hard.
But that's why I love you, Cleave. You always know when to come in and what to say, and I appreciate that. I'm going to try to change. I'm going to try to go back and be the Calagon that you know back at the farm.
I like
And
that.
as much as I don't like Rumgar, I mean, I really don't like Rumgar. He is alive. He has a soul, and I need to respect that.
I think he's younger than we tend to realize because he's taken a lot on him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's 2 years old, and he's very moldable.
Sorry.
I just want to give him a chance. I want to give him the chance that you gave me. And I don't mean to put you on too much of a pedestal. I know that can be hard. I like it. Maybe I rely on you too much, but I like being able to rely on you. I like it when I can default to saying whatever Calagon says and know in my heart that it's probably going to be the right way. Because I trust you.
And I trust you. And even though these Rodrick and Arlyn, even though they just joined us and we're getting really close, I just want you to know that you're always going to be special to me, Cleave. And thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm going to try. And if I stray away again, which I'm sure I will, because we'll be going in circumstances we've never had to deal with before. So just keep me level-headed.
I'll do what I can. And now, thank you, mate. I'm going to give you, put out my arm for, the whole arm handshake, and then pull you in for a hug.
All right, get some sleep. I'll watch everybody.
I need it. Here, I hand you my last 3 good berries. I'll make some more in the morning.
Oh, thanks. I'm going to hand one to Barry that's awake, and then toss one up. Grab
Go
it.
lay down.
All right.
All right. As you guys swap shifts for the night, Calagon, go ahead and make a perception check for me.
8.
8. Okay. There isn't a whole lot going on throughout the night, luckily. Typically, you'd be more accustomed to more life than those that you've seen thus far. But as the noises die down, you're only met with one familiar face as the ambassador from the night before walks out for a brief moment, gives you a quick wave, and walks downstairs.
Okay. I'm staying put.
Comes back up, not an unreasonable amount of time to use the restroom, and heads back to bed. Past that, it's just you and Barry just hanging out for majority of the night, as at some point you notice that Barry goes near the door and starts kind of scratching towards the post.
Okay, well, I'm going to open the door and let him in. Kind of keep an eye on him and see where he goes.
You watch as he starts crawling over towards Rumgar, right beside the doorway.
I'm going to stand up if I'm not already standing up.
You watch as he pulls one claw and puts it up onto Rumgar's lap. And he kind of just looks back at you for a moment.
Barry, what are you doing? Barry, get up. You don't need to be on
His
the...
head drops down for a second, kind of slowly rubs down on Rumgar.
I'm going to snap my fingers. Get up.
And he just-
Come here. Get up here. Get away from him.
And with one flap of his wings, it almost seems like a super jump as he just kind of and launches up to your shoulder.
Be like, we're going to be nice to him. You got to be nice to him. And he's sleeping. Barry. Be a good boy.
You watch as he kind of hops down and scurries over towards one of the beds, starts climbing, uses his wings a little bit to start fluttering just up to the windowsill. And you can see as he's just kind of now keeping watch with you once more.
Okay. He seems content, so I'm just going to keep just keeping a lookout. Nothing to see here.
Fantastic. Well, as night passes and day breaks, over time you eventually notice that Rumgar vanishes from the corner. And instead, you can see that the one that's asleep is Barry, off on the little windowsill, just kind of sprawled out, straight as can be, just kind of sitting there like a long purple, honestly, staff.
Where'd he go? Do I see him?
You
Should I
look around
and
for a
find
brief
him?
moment, and as you start to see some movement that's a little foreign, you can see as Cleave now starts to stir a little bit, with Rumgar pressed firm against him under the sheet.
Oh, so sweet. That's it.
Alright.
I got nothing.
Nice and easy.
I'd like to wake up
I got nothing.
Cool.
if I can.
As day starts to come to, and there's a little bit of light over the horizon, I will say, Arlyn, you'll be the first up.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I rolled for it, and I got a 19 of memory. And I'm gonna wake up. You know, like when the alarm doesn't ring, but you
Right.
know you had to do something that day. That's how Arlen's gonna wake up that morning. He's just the ambassador.
Or you were drowning?
The ambassador. The
The
guys. The ambassador. We're
About
not
him.
supposed to meet with the ambassador.
You hear a thump as Rumgar drops to the ground, fully armored still. Just
What
The
what time?
ambassador.
What time?
I believe he said daybreak. He was leaving. We need to go.
Okay, I'm gonna shake Cleave. Get up, get up.
No.
We gotta go. We're late.
I will grab my things, and while you guys get situated, I'll see if I can stop him.
Okay.
And so I exit the
Nice.
door, trying to see. Did he tell us where he was staying?
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
he's
so
at
then
the
I know
end
where
of the
he was
other
staying.
hall, so...
Got it. So I know where he was staying. I'm gonna start making my way down that way.
Cool, yeah. Easily done. While the rest of you guys kind of just gather your things and kind of rise for the first time this morning, is there anything that any of you would like to do other than just kind of packing everything on and heading over?
Well, to get ready, I have an arduous getting ready process. So this whole
Rodrick would.
this whole being in a hurry thing is not for me.
Rodrick
Because
would.
the thing is that my clothes are my pajamas, but I like rip them up into underwear to sleep, and I have to take a little bit of time to sew the sleeves and stuff back
Oh
on.
no!
But it's fine because
Why?
I did them into one segment, so it's just one patch, and yeah, so it's 4 patches.
That's so
I
funny.
said
We gotta go shopping.
Yeah,
For
that's
Rodrick.
so funny.
it's gonna take me about like 10 minutes.
He's just sitting there slowly threading.
Well,
You all kind of gather
also
your things
great that
quickly, look
Arlyn
down,
It's
and
like
he's
Tristan's
just
shirt
is
is
the one
like
going to
zip
talk
on
to the
large.
ambassador.
like, a little...
Yeah, it's literally like that. The whole and it just ties at one end because the whole thing is I can loosen it and it just falls off.
Nice. Amazing.
I'd
It's gonna
like
be
to
very
walk
useful
up to
when you get armor.
Rumgar and just nudge him and flip him the good berry, the third good berry that Cleave gave me.
Just kind of like scurries along the ground to kind of gather it to himself.
Enjoy it. Thumbs up. No thumb.
Kind
no
of looks
thumbs
very
up.
confused as he chews it.
Friend? Rumgar? Calagon? Friends?
Friend?
Friend.
Friend.
And that's it.
He
Rodrick, can you hurry up, please?
just gets up and
So
he starts
awkward.
looking at Rodrick.
I'm still doing this side.
He knows better than to get too close to Rodrick at this point, but he's definitely like staring at you from afar.
Listen, Calagon, artistry takes time, so just respect it.
How come you only wear one thing in many ways?
I've only seen you wear one thing too.
We've only been together for one day.
But the one thing that I wear, I don't change every time I change what I'm doing.
Well, I like to be comfortable. You think I can sleep in this? I see. You see my bunch up big sleeves, my big pant legs. Can't sleep in this. I need airflow.
I'm cold-blooded. I need this robe to sleep in, or else I'll be uncomfortable.
Well, I'm not like you. I'm not a reptile.
Well, still, I think we should go shopping, and I think we should find you some nighttime clothes.
we can find me some cloth so I can make it.
You can. Whatever makes this process quicker. Hurry up.
I'm almost done. I just pull the one strand and the whole thing is kind of like held together by like loose strands, and I pull the one string and it goes. And then I tie it up. Good
Fantastic.
to go. Where's
Alright.
Arlyn?
Don't know.
Would you have tried to actually knock on the door in that time?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I'm trying to make sure I stop this guy.
And without really a moment's pause, right away you hear, "One moment."
Oh, thank goodness.
As the door opens, you're seen now in front of the same man as before, fully suited up, pristine, and as he seems to be fixing his gloves off on the end, towards the end of his sleeve, he kind of looks up to you, and you can smell that he's clearly like just finished getting ready. He's got like this perfume about him that's very, very strong, and his things are very orderly. You can see that there is pretty much nothing out of place in his room. Everything seems probably nicer than the way he found it, and his bed is perfectly tucked with folded corners and everything. He says, "Do come in."
Ambassador, I'm glad I caught you. I'm so sorry that we definitely missed meeting with you last night.
That is all right. How can I help you?
So you had told us to come and discuss something with you.
He
We did
closes
not make
the,
any dealings.
the door behind you as he kind of motions you in. Remind me, you are,
The name is Arlyn Dursalai, and
as I thought.
I am one of the Four Horsemen. We were meeting with Iman. Right after your meeting with him.
These Four Horsemen. What are you? Party, guild? What is your affiliation?
We are... Can you define the difference between a party and a guild?
I suppose that is somewhat subjective, depending on the region. However, within the Vindryl Dynasty, we have certain segmented institutions, if you will. Within those, there are different benefits, such as guilds are granted first dibs, if you will, on quests given by the dynasty itself. They're allowed certain properties, they're allowed certain freedoms. Parties, similarly, are given certain freedoms, but without the added benefit of direct quests, direct currency plug, direct trade, even. Parties are helpful, but not quite as
Official.
in a sense. Both have to be registered.
I suppose that we would probably define ourselves more of a party rather than an official guild, I suppose.
This is good.
We have no ties to anyone, any sort of dynasty or anything. But we are trying to do what is right.
And what is that?
Arlyn immediately remembers the conversation that he had with the other man. And he kind of grows cold, right? He's a deeper blue than normal.
Do we all know where Evandale's room was?
Yeah, for sure.
And so he goes...
The reason why I said I didn't know is because I don't know if he got him at the room or if he already left.
So he thinks to himself and he goes... Well, I suppose the word good is subjective, depending on who you're speaking to. I believe our task is to find what is the best good for all. That's what we dedicate ourselves to.
Very good.
Now, what that is what we're on a quest to find out.
As far as the party system is, I'd like to speak with the lot of you, unless, of course, you have a leader that you'd wish to speak for you all.
So he thinks to himself for a second. Everybody talking about Arlyn being the leader, but himself not feeling really up to, I guess, the standard of the leader just yet. I think it would be best to speak as a group. See, some of us have better expertises than others, so I believe we're all leaders in a certain way.
At this point, I'm gonna have been kind of like running down the hall to get to the room.
I was thinking of us like stammering towards the door.
I'm gonna stumble and kind of like trip up to the thing.
He trips through the door. I go.
Okay, so I bust through the door.
The door explodes.
And I run in. I pick him up from the ground.
In my head.
Bust in through the door.
Without like a proper knock in full, as he kind of trips onto the handle, it starts to kind of like open a little bit by mistake. And just as you kind of compose yourself.
Am I late?
Rodrick.
Turns over. I do believe you're exactly on time.
Yes, you are. I'm glad you have joined us.
As I always intended on being. Vindryl,
Yes.
how did you sleep last night?
Beautifully, I suppose. I saw one of your friends walking the halls.
What was his name?
I believe Calagon.
Good. He does that.
Hey.
At this point, do
Okay,
we walk in?
remember
You're the
his
one that
name
took
and not
longer.
You guys are definitely
we
walking
walk-
over with it. So now everybody kind of gathering
sneaks
over
in,
towards
yeah.
it. He says, "Ah, yes, I've much to speak with you for about. Please come in quickly."
I see Arlyn was here. Have you spoken already?
In part, yes.
What has he told you?
Only that you aim for the greater good and that you are a party of leaders.
It's very true. It's good to meet you, sir.
Calagon,
As
you've
you
joined
walk
us.
in, he kind of pulls a hand back as he goes to greet you, seeing Barry on your shoulder.
Oh, he wouldn't hurt a fly.
I see. He kind
Look
of
at him,
lowers
he's-
his hand for a moment.
He's adorable. He's just a kid. He's just a baby.
Don't worry. He's just an illusion. And I create another green dragon on my shoulder.
Roll a deception check.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Let's go.
come on,
live up
do
to
what you're
the-
good at,
live it up.
Bard. Do
Live up
what
to
you're
the
good
name.
at.
23.
His greatest strength. We just talked about
Manipulation.
Knowing that your illusions don't usually travel too well with you, you kind of briefly pop it up to the greatest like detail you can muster, and just kind of wave it away.
I want to like kind of put him in my act as if I put him in my shirt.
Nice. He kind of looks at you all. You
And
are
I'm-
something, that is for sure.
I'm going to open my robe and tell Barry, get
This is-
inside.
It is unusual to be greeted with additional, however, and as he stands to go close the door, he notices Rumgar now waddling through. He kind of looks at you all for a moment as this child orc now steps foot into his room.
Don't mind him. You see, we are.
He is an illusion.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Did he show up?
Yes, he is. He's an-
Oh no! Oh no! Where's this going? Where's this going?
Here we go.
It was so perfectly
Here we
done.
go. Let's see it.
Had to do
You watch as he like tightens his glove for a moment as he reaches out.
But no, I don't double down on that. I'm just like, he's an illusion. And then, no, sorry, he can go ahead.
Don't mind him. He's a
just-
gangster.
Just kidding.
He just pokes to Rumgar's head, and Rumgar immediately swats at him.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you watch as the ambassador just kind of pulls his hand back.
I
puts
was
it-
Rumgar.
Just kidding. That was
Oh.
rude. Yeah, you should have done that.
Oh my goodness.
I am
we're
so
We're very
sorry,
sorry. He's just a
Ambassador.
kid.
Capture?
No.
He's here. Could you please tell him you're sorry? It was my fault. I'm sorry too. I made him think it was supposed to be a joke.
Catch.
I meant to
Raleigh?
joke.
No.
We'll
Rumgar.
catch up to him later.
No. We'll talk.
Right now,
Rumgar,
it's
just
him.
listen. Let us talk and you listen, okay?
The ambassador, now clearly uncomfortable, kind of pulls at his collar and looks around at you four. And he kind of looks down at the child with the adventuring party that he's going to speak with.
We are rather unorthodox, but as you are as well, I can presume.
If I may say, I can tell by your reaction you believe us to be, like he said, an unconventional group. But sometimes it takes unconventional people to do unconventional things.
You can see that his jaw is clearly fully clenched as he just kind of nods and allows now Cleave and Rumgar into the room, closing the door and just...
That was an allusion.
Cleave, enough, please.
Very well. And he kind of walks over and motions towards his bed, which seems to be the only proper seat in his room. And he kind of looks across you lot. As I was saying, as it pertains to the Vindryl Dynasty, every newcomer must register with us. That is why I'm here. That is the nature of my visit to this Waking Dawn Guild. You see, they are officially registered now with the Vindryl Dynasty, and so as one of the 10 great kingdoms, they will now receive orders directly from my superiors. That being said, they will now receive different quests, they will receive different options for funding, and even perhaps different channels of trade. This allows them to open up countless measures towards success. And the same can be said of certain parties. That being said, forgive me if I'm overstepping my bounds, but things didn't seem to go entirely in the way that I imagine everyone had hoped between you and the guild.
Well, that's still up in the air. We haven't set any concrete things within this guild. What does it mean exactly to be registered with the Vindryl Dynasty?
This is a thing of countless benefit. Do you mean it at an individual level or as a party?
We mean it as a purely contractual level. Non-exclusive, one would say.
Exclusivity is, again, subjective. As I've heard you described, you are at the party level, of which you would gain the ability to wield weapons publicly, you would gain certain discounts when buying certain bulk commodities, you would be granted, of course, certain opportunities for further recognition. You'd be, of course, given the opportunity to take on quests. However, it would be up to you to meet up with certain individuals. In order to do so, they would not be delivered to you as they would be with a guild.
Okay, and
What are the requirements? Would we be tied down to a specific location, or?
and if we choose not to go a certain way, is there a punishment for that?
There are minor punishments here and there, of course. There is all things within the confines of the law. Of course, guild to guild, there should be no murder, per se. We do allow a certain level of freedoms as it pertains to our judgment in terms of combat and what may happen in the field should we not be, say, able to judge accordingly in that direct time period. Now, within city walls, of course, that is going to be very, very different. And as it pertains to dealing with other guilds, we simply ask that you try to avoid combat entirely. If you were, of course, to have any other restrictions within a guild or party of your own, then that is entirely up to you. Now, if you were to go against the Vindryl Dynasty, well, any party, any guild, any other form of association would be immediately nullified. And you would likely be cast out from the dynasty in full.
Well, what is good for the dynasty is what is in best interest for us. And we plan on working with you, and we could in parts accept certain quests, maybe even demands. But I believe exclusivity is a must for us. We must not have anyone over us on a hierarchical level that would tell us what to do.
I agree.
So long as you are your own independent party, you would only serve the law as a general rule, as a member of the Vindryl Dynasty.
And is there anyone that is above the law?
I suppose there are few who can be technically considered to be so, however, not officially, no.
Would we have to register as a guild to then register with the Vindryl Dynasty?
Do you have 10 party members or more?
We do not.
Then I'm afraid you cannot register as a guild.
What counts as a party member? Does a fan count?
A fern?
Yes, fans.
Like a plant?
No, fans. Adoring fans, thousands of them. Millions, some would say. Does that count as a party member?
I suppose if you are to have them sign up, then there would be a certain fee depending on the total number. However, the benefit would be certainly in your favor.
A fee to register the guild, depending on the number.
For guilds, there are minor fees, of course,
But it's based, but it's per member.
there are certain intervals at which we charge the fees, but it is depending on general milestones, if you will, the amount of members.
Fair. I believe we have much to discuss. But in the meantime, is there any way that we can be of service to you so we can prove our capabilities to you, Vindryl?
This is exactly what I had hoped to speak about last night. You see, as I am registering all of the current guild members here, I unfortunately have to make my way back to the dynasty. It will take me, if I had to guess, approximately 1 week's time there and back. In that time, I'm afraid an ally has been already gone too long, and we fear that we may need to get to him sooner. Is this something that you believe you may be able to aid with?
I'm gonna look around at the party to kind of get their reactions. I see Calagon seems to be interested. Cleave?
It's a search and rescue, Cleave.
And I look at Arlyn.
I believe it is within our capabilities.
Kind of with like very little actual expression of joy, kind of smiles lightly. He says, "This is good. Now, can I trust you all to some amount of secrecy?"
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Cleave looks at Arlyn.
I know. I just keep looking at for both the things, for both the cases. I just want to note. I glanced over at Rumgar for both. Like, are we gonna take on a dangerous mission? And
Roll an insight check.
all right. Yeah. And can we do secrecy with a 2-year-old orc? That is gonna be pretty good. Let me see. So close. A 13.
13. He's in a perpetual state of contemplation. He's just staring at him, very confused. and kind of glancing back and forth at each of you as though kind of like you can see now like a slight tension building up in him of like presumed anger as he knows he's only supposed to be listening right now, and he just kind of is like slowly just building himself up more and more in the corner.
What do you think, Rumgar?
Capture.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Before we can move forward, there is the... Unfortunately, I know it was a mistake and it was a misunderstanding and I shouldn't have made my joke, and I'm sorry to both of you. But we're trying to teach Rumgar, Mr. Ambassador, sir, about apologies. And he poked him in the head. I think he's offended.
Capture.
Well, he's here. He's here with us. As long as you have them with you, we did it. But first, they have to say... I'm like, I'm mouthing it to the ambassador.
Oh my goodness.
Roll a persuasion check.
Wow.
This is definitely a risk.
No!
Ballsy.
A 4.
Evandil, the orc won't be a problem.
My contemporary has fallen, unfortunately, in an unusual place, and he seems to do so quite regularly. Now, unfortunately, I cannot bring this certain assignment to the guild, and I'm very happy that I stumbled upon you lot before then. There's a man by the name of Jean Canito. He's found himself lost in trial. This man continually seeks out the most dangerous areas he can find in hopes of reaching some form of lost history. He believes that relics of the past somehow bear great weight on modern day era. And with that, he has found himself to become invaluable to the dynasty. It is imperative that we reach him soon, before anyone else does, including... And he kind of motions around you all, as though to say, the guild itself.
Well, where is he?
Are you familiar with the nation of Gracht?
No, I don't believe I am.
I was gonna be like, can we roll? Are we familiar with the nation of...
I doubt I am.
Roll a history check at advantage.
Can I? At least at disadvantage or something?
Oh,
Or just
Go ahead and
leave it
roll
up to
just
Cleave, huh?
a regular roll, yeah. Regular, flat roll.
I mean, it's a flat
13.
roll anyways.
13?
I have minuses.
Wisdom's not great. Or
Oh
intelligence.
yeah,
Advantage
13
is
at
not great.
advantage, that's not ideal.
It's a 3.
Is that 3?
Yeah, 13 is good enough that you'd have heard of it for sure.
What's it called again?
Gracht.
Dracht.
Dracht. With a D?
G-R-A.
It is
Gracht.
You with the
Even
symbol.
more guttural.
Phlegm. T.
G-R-A phlegm T.
G-R-A-H-K-T. Gracht. To which he will fill in whatever blanks there may be in your mind that may start sounding familiar. As he says, it is one of the 10 great nations, and he says, funny enough, orcish in nature. It
Perfect.
is led by a man named Toscan.
Named what?
Toscan Horantor.
Toscan.
Toscan.
How do you spell that?
Yeah.
To my knowledge, within the common tongue, that is Toskan.
Toscan.
Horantor.
H.
O-R-A-N-T-O-R.
T-O-R. Okay.
So if we find this Toscan, he could help us find Jean?
I would highly suggest against doing so. But I suppose that depends on your party in particular. If you're not familiar with the nation itself, nor the party system, then I would suggest perhaps avoid that man at all costs.
Oh.
So avoid Toscan, find Jean Cneedle.
Do you have any maps or maybe helpful ways into the area that would be less noticeable?
I do. I have a general area map, and I suppose one I could leave with you for the time.
Okay.
It's
Anything would help.
generally short on names, as unfortunately my job requires that I not give away the specifics of where I visit. But hopefully it is of some use to you all.
Okay. And you said this gentleman that we're looking for looks for the hidden treasures, and is there any idea of where he might have sought after some treasure in this area?
Oh, undoubtedly. Southwest of Gracht, there is this rift of sorts, and while many have known about it for some time, none has been so foolish as to reach the bottom. Few adventurers some time ago did just that, albeit I don't believe intentionally. Jean, the man that he is, heard wind of a certain place at the bottom of this rift, and of course found his way directly to it. Since then, he's been missing in action, if you will.
Sounds easy enough. We'll go southwest of Gracht and find this rift and rescue the guy and bring him home.
Rescue Jean.
And where do we take him once we're done?
I suppose if you find him and he's safe, you can simply bring him back here, and I'll meet with you in 1 week.
What if he's not safe? Just report back to you?
I suppose that would be best, yes.
And how can we reach you if you are no longer here?
Kind of thinks for a moment. I will be sure to stay some time. I do believe that it could be quite a task, depending, but given your name, I'd hope that a party such as yours should have no major issue traversing a greater distance. Now, the sands are a little bit tricky, and I don't imagine your steeds will hold too well. Perhaps finding a resting place.
And look around at the party.
Yes, striders seem to be the more common, or I do not remember if they call them sand walkers or sand movers or sand something. There are these unusual creatures with longer necks and sharpened beaks. They are hard in the back and very sturdy, very, very good without water.
And we can find those.
It will be tricky, yes. Perhaps an outpost or something of the sort that you may trade at may be of better use, but should be no issue for a group of travelers.
And if I may ask, for a quest such as this unconventional quest that you can only trust us with,
Right.
I'm assuming there's a payment in hand.
Of course. You see, first and foremost, you would be on a first-name basis with an ambassador of the Vindryl Dynasty. Beyond that, I would waive any fees, and given your lack of knowledge surrounding the Ten Kingdoms, I'll suppose that you probably don't have any amount of citizenship with the Vindryl Dynasty already.
Do not.
I can supersede any prior rulings and grant you, I suppose, what is akin to a visitor pass to allow you free reign in and out of the city as an entire party.
I do appreciate all that, and it does not go without gratitude on our part for something so gracious such as that. But we do need You speak of trade.
Of course.
There is something we do not have. It is coin. For us to be able to get the creatures, to be able to save your precious Jean Canaedal, we need coin.
I'm unfortunately short on that as I travel. It goes against the very merit of my career path, you see. My people, we are sturdy in our own sense. However, it certainly helps for us ambassadors traveling alone throughout the wilderness to stay without any coin in our purse.
Well, surely your name alone can perhaps sway the hearts of a local...
Rodrick, I
keep.
think maybe we should talk about this together real quick. I'm going to try to huddle up with everybody.
Vindryl, can you give us 1 second?
Of course.
Rodrick, I'm normally...
Capture.
Not yet.
Bad.
No, not now. No.
There will be plenty to capture, Rumgar, just not him.
I'm normally on your side. I don't think anything in this life is free, but we have the chance to come and go as we wish. Room and board.
That is fine. I'm not asking for money directly for us, but we've traversed the sands already. It was extremely difficult. We almost died. Frankly, not once did we bury holes in the ground and stick our heads in them.
Are we all in this circle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not once. And I think that would have been a great tactic. But we didn't do it. And we almost died to the spiders. We almost died to the goblins. We need a faster way to traverse. So if he can at least use his name and his status as ambassador to get us to rent some steeds to perform this task.
Well,
It's
I
the least he
believe
can
he
do.
has steeds, but we could trade them for what we need. Or maybe he has access to a general store where we can grab items for trade.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to convince him to get to at least provide that for us. Because we
Okay.
have nothing to trade for
And
steeds.
what's the reimbursement for the quest itself?
The
Well, he's-
reimbursement for the quest itself is ability
the
to...
reward, yeah.
Yes, I just have free access to the Vindryl Dynasty, be on a first-name basis with an ambassador of the Vindryl
To make
Dynasty.
us right.
His
okay.
resources,
Status,
It's-
basically, is what it seems.
Could you sweeten
information.
the deal?
Information, true.
And I
I
want to pull
think that's
just
very
Rodrick
important.
aside, as long as you're our you're our negotiator. Do you think you could swing? And in your ear, I want to whisper an apology for Rungar. And if he doesn't agree to that, just that you can do an illusion of the guy's voice on the way out the door, like saying, "I'm sorry, Rungar." Just
Gotcha.
like in his ear.
Got you. Okay.
What was that about?
Okay, so we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
He provides the steeds, we do the deed.
I just wanted you to
Wow, look at that.
understand that the
Write
Sounding
that
like
one
Rowan
down.
already.
I just wanted you to understand that the information that this man could provide, the connections to the people that we need to reach for.
I do
know.
I do agree. I simply wanted coins so we can make the path easier for us.
Okay. I'm on your side.
Vindryl,
Yes.
back as I was saying before, we need transportation. So if there's anything you can do with your name and status to sway one of the keeps here to allow us to rent the steeds to do this deed.
He thinks for a moment. It is
For not much else, I will
unfortunately
plead.
Not within my power
My
to
favorite
do such
band is
things.
Creed.
Oh
Okay, I'm sorry, go.
I do believe
I like
you'll have better luck simply asking one of the guild members here. I'm not quite familiar with this area just yet. I've only been asked this way per Iman's request. I can trade only in information.
Fair. Then we can communicate with Iman, see if there's maybe something we can get. The only issue we run into is this. We do not plan on joining the Waking Dawn. And we are doing a quest in which they are not to know about. So in what way can we possibly convince them to grant us 4 of their steeds.
Perhaps put yours up for trade for a time being, as though on a lien.
Put ours? Our what? We have
Your
no.
steeds.
We have none.
Rodrick,
I see.
we're called the Four Horsemen,
It's a
but we
misnomer.
have no horses.
It's because
What do you mean you have no?
I tried to say that quietly. I guess it wasn't that bad.
Why is it that you, Four Horsemen, have no horses?
Catchy name.
it's
Actually, name.
at some point somebody came across us and they wanted to make fun of the way that my buddy Calagon and I look. And they said he has a horse face, and then he's just like, look at that horseman, and we're like, hey, he's one of us. If he's a horseman, then we're horsemen.
So, yes.
Oh, that's exactly what
And
happened.
because of Cleave's tremendous idea, we came up with, if you really want to stick it to them, you just take what they called you and use it against
Use
them.
it against them. Yeah.
And now we are the Four Horsemen.
Horse
But we
facemen.
are really working on the horses part.
One of us won't go down without the other sticking up for him.
See as he kind of like gets a little bit more proper and kind of
Sorry, Calagon.
pats himself down to make sure that he's looking all right. Perhaps I've come to the wrong party.
No, most definitely not.
If you do not have steeds of your own, you have no means of getting a steed. and yet
What
you
does it
hope
cost to rent?
travel.
Around here.
No. Evandil, this is not something you should deal with. We will handle the steeds. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I misstepped.
Very good.
Could I ask
One more
thing
thing.
of you?
May I interject, Cleave?
Go right ahead.
Says please.
So just like we were willing to do your bidding, and what is in the best interest of the Vindryl Dynasty is in the best interest of us, we are also on an adventure of our own that we need your help with, if you would be willing to.
And how's that?
It's an adventure that most have gone on, some will not, and some will. It's the adventure of parenting. We're trying to raise up this child to be able to join the guild in the future and do the work of the Vindryl Dynasty for the sake of the Vindryl Dynasty. Now, the only thing is we are in the midst of teaching him what communication is. And a very important part of that is a back and forth, a rapport, if you would say. He feels attacked from the poke, and it's okay, there's nothing you did wrong, but perhaps, just for the sake of a child, if you can lessen yourself to his level and give a quick apology, it would go much further for him than it would for you.
I'm gonna look at Arlyn because I obviously didn't hear that. So I'm like, let's see what he says.
Roll persuasion at disadvantage, given the previous.
Because I already failed really hard. Yeah, I understand.
Oh my goodness!
I still have faith in him. You can do it.
I mean, why'd I roll again? I can't get worse than that.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
6.
No way!
You assured me that the orcs wouldn't be a problem.
He won't be a problem to the quest. We will complete the quest. This is more of a personal matter for us.
Says,
You see, we plan on starting a school for younglings in the future to raise up adventurers.
Rodrick, I think we should just stay on topic. I think we should stay on topic. We're gonna do the quest.
I'm sorry. I must have spoken too much. I trust him so much. There's a lot of plans we have,
That's fantastic. Can we get the
for
resources?
younglings such as himself.
such as
Gosh, no.
He looks over.
as an educated person such as yourself, you must understand.
Of course. We have such facilities within the dynasty. but it is always of additional benefit.
No way.
And he's like clearly like really having a hard time with this.
I can't believe this is about to happen.
We're all eyes. All eyes on him.
He looks down at Rumgar for a moment. And then he looks back at Rodrick. Is this something you would hope to open with the Vindryl Dynasty?
Judging that you are the end product of these schools that you have in the Vindryl Dynasty, correct?
Of course.
You seem well educated. I believe that our paths could align for such a project as this.
Kind of takes a moment. He looks down. He kind of almost like shyly out of the corner of his mouth to you. He's like, you see, the boy's grown despondent, so of course. Education is key, and the Vindryl Dynasty, we pride ourselves on being a melting pot for the people. Name?
Rumgar.
Rumgar? I am sorry. And he just looks.
And then you say,
No kill?
no kill. No. And then you say,
No capture.
it's okay.
No catch.
It's okay.
Say,
Tell him it's
say
okay.
thank you. Say thank you, Rumgar.
Thank you, Rumgar.
Hey,
You see the need for the
Thank you.
school.
Much to learn, much to
It's,
learn.
all, it's coming along.
It's very good.
You see, we've taken quite a challenge. If we can turn him to a civilized being, we can turn anybody.
You're doing an exceptional job, truly. If ever you feel the need to get him out of this life, there are some programs I know of.
is there?
Such as...
There are houses for the underprivileged within the dynasty that help to educate them
Located where?
all over, but there are quite a few. I suppose it depends where you are looking. Unfortunately, of course, for myself, I prominently know of a few within the city of Bridges itself. Should there be any such affiliation apart from governmental assistance, I'll let you know.
Is there perhaps one in the cracked nation?
I do not know how important education is to them.
That is fair.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, when we meet again after completing this quest, we can discuss more of these matters and what we shall do with the boy.
Very good.
Evandil, we thank you for your time, for your consideration,
Of course.
and furthermore for your respect.
Gladly. He says, before I forget, I was intended to bring 3 passes for a party for registration, and I do always keep 1 spare on hand. However, I'm afraid I do not have quite enough for the full lot of you. But given your name, I suppose that should be no matter. And he pulls a scroll of registration. He says, I'm on my way back, and I will return in 1 week. If I have your word that you will get this completed for me, then I would ask that you have these filled out immediately, and I can take them with me now.
What are these? These are
It's a registration with the
register-
Vindryl Dynasty.
as a party.
That's
Yes.
correct.
And I believe that this also works hand in hand with the things that he was offering us.
Yeah.
Passage.
If there are only 3,
There are 4. I had only intended to sign up 3 additional, but I'm afraid
I see.
3 seem to have come short as this guild continues to in certain ways.
Do you have a pen or a feather?
Of course.
An
And
ink?
he pulls out this small little, like, almost just like straight stick that almost seems to be made of like porcelain. And it comes to a point at the end that kind of spirals out from this porcelain stick. He
I'm
hands
gonna
it your way.
very delicately grab this pen with my big dragon hands
Nice.
to not break it.
He says, yes, very good. And as you sign off, he hands the pen around, and you watch as he pulls a knife. And he hands it to you. And he says, of course, your fingerprint at the end, your thumbprint to finalize your signature.
My thumbprint. Why'd you give me a knife? You don't have ink?
Are we made to sign in blood?
That is how a contract is sealed, yes.
Is this a blood-bound contract?
In technicality, yes, I do believe that's where the origins lie.
I'm
It
gonna-
is
some
something
kind of-
that dates back to Bastion days, I believe. It had something to do with the Bastion's tie to its people.
I'm gonna move my robe, find a piece on my leg, it's slit open a little bit, grab some blood and do it that way. And I'll hand the knife over to Cleave.
Cleave does it more or less without any issue. He just kind of cuts a little portion at the bottom of his thumb and then just like smears it around, puts it on there,
Very well. And
passes it off.
they pass it to you, Arlyn.
I grab the little knife. I suppose. And I prick my finger and pass it on to Rodrick.
Very good.
Okay. I'm going to try, as he passes it over to me, for me to touch his finger that was pricked.
Roll a sleight of hand check.
Wow.
8.
8.
What
Very
color is my
nice.
blood, by the way?
Hmm?
So what color is my blood? Your blood's green.
Oh man, hold on, that might be tricky with his. Mine is green, right? I think mine was
What
green.
color is your blood?
His,
That's a good question.
His, I would assume, is probably the closest to standard.
That
I
is
forgot
up
how
to
weird you guys are as a
Tristan.
party.
That is
You guys
really
are
up
all
to
of the things.
Tristan.
For the sake of fluidity, I'll say you have just normal blood. Yeah,
You should.
that's
red
that's
blood on
fine.
a
You
blue
have a
character
lot
would
of
look crazy in
human.
art.
I was gonna say you have a lot of
Yeah.
human
Characteristics.
genetics.
I am technically 50% human.
Yeah, so I think
If
it,
we really
it
go
stands.
that route.
So sorry, remind me your roll.
8.
8.
Oh,
He
that's a
kind
bad
of
roll.
pauses you for a moment. I understand it may have felt a little something, but you may be careful not to smear. And you watch as he pulls out a handkerchief and wipes away the blood from previous.
Forgive me. I'm clumsy.
Just do it.
And I'll cut my finger and I'll do it.
Amazing.
He literally got a 9 on perception.
Oh!
Oh, man.
No!
Literally
Wow.
just enough.
Wow.
I'm gonna make my 10 good berries for the day, and I'll hand one out to each of you guys.
Amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
As you all heal up, you watch as your thumbs just kind of seal up on their own. This is very good. Well, with that, it has been a great pleasure meeting you all, and of course, in the name of the Vindryl Dynasty, it is my great honor to welcome you all as at least temporary citizens. I look forward to working with you more in the future.
Thank you, Vindryl.
Before you leave,
Thank
can I
you.
get the map that we need for
of
our
course.
journey?
He kind of pulls it out and lays it out on his bed beside you. He kind of points over here and he says, the rift spans from, and he kind of points out this small area east of where you all are, just towards the edge of the sands. And he kind of marks out off a small spot and he says, this is where you will find the nation of Gracht. Now, do be careful. So he kind of circles this like lake area just off the end near the ocean, the Great Sea. He says, "They are certainly not landlocked, and the nation of Kracht has unusual allies. Should you be found out by any of them, they will likely take you in. Do be careful."
You can trust
Fair.
us.
Are they allied with goblins or hobgoblins? Do they have a kingdom?
I believe so, yes.
The nation of Gracht is allied with hobgoblins?
In many ways, they have a few allies. He kind of looks around. As I suppose you are all allies, I suppose I can now share a little bit more on my wealth of information. The nation of Gracht is one of orcs and half-orcs. Toscan himself is full orc, but he seems to have taken after more of the half-orc ways. After kind of having his name sullied for a time, he put down a certain rebellion that led to a new uprising of sorts, and new allies with it. We've been shocked to find that there are countless allies, including goblins, hobgoblins, ogres, and recently, giants.
Giants.
Do be very careful. Mountains are not always as they seem on the Eastern Front.
Okay, well, I think we'll be okay. We're more resilient than it seems.
Very good.
Is there any chance you could... It seems a great portion of what we're setting out to do involves the kingdoms, the nations. We're traveling a lot, but we've entered woefully, I don't want to say it, unknowledgeable, but there's so much, traveling we haven't done yet. Could you
Right.
tell us what are the 10 great nations?
What are the 10 great
Yeah.
nations?
What are they, and what is their population like? If that one's an orc one, do the hobgoblins have their own great nation, or are they just sort of a subset that sometimes lives there? Or
There are many nations. Of the 10 great nations, the hobgoblins certainly do not have their own trade. They simply carry a share of Kracht, and not a particularly large one that I'm aware of. To summarize quite quickly, there are a few that seem to be more varied in population, and some that seem less than. However, largely we've been cut off one from the next as of the last, I'd say, 100 years primarily. Now, unfortunately, that leaves me with not a particular amount of direct exposure to these nations, myself even. We've had with a few. Of course, we have the empire that refers to themselves as Dragos. Also sometimes referred to as the Dragos Dominion. The Dreadforged, they call their warriors. They're a series of warmongers and strategists primarily. In truth, they're not unlike Toscan from what I hear. Both are uncouth, very rough in nature and very intelligent beyond what you'd come to expect. They seem to be one that we are most acquainted with. However, I certainly wouldn't call us allies. Of them I could tell you countless stories, but I imagine Iman could tell you more. Of those that I know well, there are few. I know of the Sunflower of Trogsden. I know of Crestview as...
the Sunflower of Trogsden is a country? Is a nation?
Trogsden is the nation. The Sunflower is the bastion that they once held. That one I have heard some interesting stories about, but I won't waste your time with gossip. I'll leave it at that.
You don't know what manner of people live there?
To my knowledge, not ones that I'm too fond of, admittedly. From the stories I've heard, they seem to be a people of elemental origin. People that are rough in different ways.
Elementals.
Possibly. The stories are varied, of course, but that is about all I know. There's something said about a great tree, a sunflower bastion, and elemental people. It is one of the more worrying, as it seems to be a standalone with no real great allies anymore, since a rift was formed, to the best of my knowledge, between them and Dragos. But from everything that I've heard now from Iman, it seems like they're perfectly fine without Dragos, which means they are confident in their strength still.
Now, the Vindryl Dynasty is one of the Great 10, correct?
The greatest. The largest
so.
currently, and expanding our reach daily. Hence my position.
Is Rudon a part of any of it, or are you reaching out here because they're separate?
I've yet to meet the mayor myself, however I've heard tell that he is out and about from now and then, but for now I was simply called here to meet with Iman as guild business specifically. I hope to meet with the mayor on my next trip.
Very good. And Manshire, is that one of the Great 10?
Manshire, no, that is one I continue to hear about in my travels here now. This seems to be newer.
Oh, okay. Well, and then the Vindryl Dynasty, that's basically, you said melting pot, is that basically just a very mixed one? Or is the leadership of a particular peoples?
I will admit that based on our elvish origins, we are a little bit specific in terms of our peoples of the capital, but otherwise I would say we are doing our best to ensure that all people feel welcomed. Is that sufficient for you lot?
Well, I was hoping for knowledge on the 10. We're going to be traveling some. If nothing but the names.
That much I can certainly do. I will oblige. Crestview, being the neutral zone, with the final bastion known as the Outlook. It stands alone with great power and is the one place that each seems to have some knowledge of. The Star of Crestview is a man of great power, and he seems to, how do you say, always be watching. Hence
That be
his
their leader?
position of power. I believe so. He seems to be the one out of all the nations that is both guardian and leader. Hence why their bastion seems to have stayed. Suppose that makes the most sense of it in my mind. Beyond that, of what I know, there are Anatol, Dalrun, Gracht, Eldoria, Karakor,
Meldoria?
Eldoria,
Eldoria.
Karakor, Nurgoth, Trogsden, the Vindryl Dynasty, Dragos, and Orindra.
Norindra?
Orindra.
Orindra. I keep adding N's.
Unfortunately, with that one, just as you have shown, we also do not know a particular amount about Orindra, as they seem to be the most sealed off still. So even if you were to ask, unfortunately, I would have very little information to give on that front. Even their people are masked from us.
Incredible.
With
That'll
that,
be good to know.
I do hope you're able to find your way around. He kind of looks
should at
down.
least- yeah.
Next time I see you, I'll come bearing a little bit more information as part of your reward. And I'll be sure to mark off on the map where each of these nations is, should you so
It'd be
need.
greatly beneficial. And some information on the party system.
Of course.
Thank
Wait, is Dragos one of the 10? Did you say?
Mhm.
It is.
I seem to have written 11. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I've written
Same.
down
Me too.
11.
There are, by technicality, 10 kingdoms. Crestview itself does not necessarily count per the rest of our followings. We simply call it the neutral zone as it stands outside of the kingdoms currently. That bastion was once with some of the others. However, it is now standalone in its own right. In recent years, we have since chosen to separate the 10 kingdoms into 11th, and Arindra, along with Crestview, seem to keep us on our toes as far as our current count. But as it stands, we believe that the two are not directly allied, and so we remain allied with Crestview. You see, Crestview is not a nation as the others are, but rather a singular spire that has taken up the place of a nation. We count it to some degree as one of the nations. However, it is unique, and we kind of allow it in regards to the conversation per the other nations, as they have an allegiance that has actually spawned these guilds, and as such is considered a part of all of the nations still. Crestview in itself is not a nation, yet it is part of every nation. Forgive me if this is a lot of information to take on at once.
Now, this is what we needed. At the very least, if we hear one of these names, we want to know some concept of a scale of what we might be facing. This couldn't. I could have come across Karakor and thought it was a village.
That is certainly fair. Karakor is a rough one, but if you were to come across it, I can assure you it is hard to see as a village. Karakor is deep within the mountains, and
Oh, I'm sure if we saw any of them, we'd look the fool if we had first assumed it to be a village.
that is for sure. But for the time being, we are simply remaining hopeful, as perhaps Rudon and even your Manshire that you mentioned will hopefully soon become part of the Vindryl Dynasty, as you now have as well. With that, men, it has been an absolute joy, but as day is progressing, I must be on my way. Otherwise, night will catch me, and with that, greater threats still.
Too true.
Thank you, Vindryl.
Yes. Thank you.
We have much to focus on.
Very good.
We appreciate the information and your transparency.
Of course. It is always a joy to meet new allies, and of course to grant merit to what we do, the credibility of the dynasty itself. We've done a lot in these recent years to ensure that we are trying to grow our people groups, and seeing a lot of you, it is a most joyous occasion to bring you all in, because you see, we could use more faces like yours. And he kind of peps up for a moment, and he looks down, and like yours, Rumgar. And he kind of starts his about face and over his shoulder. Well, this room is no longer my own, so you may use it for what you will, but
Pat Rumgar on the head.
with that, I must take my leave. It has been a great pleasure. And he kind of pauses for a moment. Where are my manners? And he turns back around to you all. Calagon, Cleave, Arlyn, Rodrick, Rumgar. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Ambassador.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a week's time.
1 week. And he turns and vanishes out the door.
I'm going to close the door behind him.
Nice.
Quite a talker that one was, wasn't he?
Yes.
A lot of good information.
Out of all people.
Yeah, right.
Keeping up this front. it's proven to be very difficult for me. But all of us have a job, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
I shudder. Goodness gracious.
Rumgar puts his hands up to Calagon and Rodrick. And now, we catch Rowan?
No, we have a new person that we need to catch.
In due time, Rumgar. Rowan is should be in the back of your mind, the least of our worries.
We need to find a man named Gene. We need to catch him and bring him back. Are you ready to go?
We were going to, but now we have to do this one first.
It's much more important of a matter.
So he comes later now.
So,
It's okay.
And
we
this
make
kind
moves.
of mission is a capture, no kill. Can you repeat that?
Rowan, say sorry?
Bring back, safe.
What?
Rowan will say sorry. When we catch Rowan, he's
Don't
going to
worry
say
about
sorry.
Rowan. Rowan is a nobody right now.
That's right.
Four Horsemen.
He is a
Gene.
nobody.
Rodrick.
Now, how are we going to find horses? Or camels?
Okay.
Or
yes.
That is what I wanted to discuss. Because I personally don't believe that theft is the right way to start this whole thing.
Right. Very good. Good start.
But
yeah.
sometimes theft is the only way.
Well, let's just maybe walk around.
All right.
Let's walk around and see how much maybe they cost around here to maybe rent or
Well,
possibly
Got a
even
bit of
own.
pocket change. Maybe
Is there
something?
anything you guys
why
have
don't
that...
can we all check our pockets and see what we have as a collective?
Of course.
Well, I know you have at least 2 gold, Arlyn.
Well,
Rumgar
technically,
pats around.
your ex-manager does.
No pockets.
No pockets.
So I pull out a bag that has 10 gold.
Barry flies out with the bag that's in my pocket that has 10 gold as well.
Nice.
Ah, looks like I'm working with about the same as you blokes. And I drop my bag, but I've got it a bit broken up. A lot of it's in copper and
yes.
silver.
I pull out a bag that's a little heavier than the rest with 15 gold.
Nice.
So much heavier.
Oh. How much does the horse go for?
I'm not sure. I've never bought one.
Let's go find out.
So 45 gold as a group. Let's see. We might all be bunching up on a single horse here, but
Rumgar, do you have no pockets at all, or do you just have nothing in your pockets?
And he pats around. No pockets.
No pockets. We're gonna have to get you some pockets. My favorite kind of robes have pockets. I show my robe and it's pockets
Full of
everywhere.
pockets.
He currently
can I-
has
can I-
just like the
can-
one like
yeah,
massive dress robe tunic thing.
Well, I was
and
gonna say,
then
can I
his
inspect?
armor that's like way too big on him.
So I can inspect what he's wearing. You said it's a massive dress robe tunic.
It's just like this long like, it's very like sackcloth, you know. It's just this long brown shirt essentially.
Okay. I'm gonna go to my sleeve, and I'm going to pull a strand, and it's gonna pull out just the end of my sleeve. And I'm gonna pull out the other side because symmetry would kill me. and I'm gonna go to him, and I'm just gonna take a little needle that I have, and I'm gonna sew 2 pockets right on his chest there, and I'm gonna put 1 gold coin here and 1 gold coin.
Oh my
there.
goodness! I was just gonna give him copper. I'm gonna drop like 4 copper, maybe 2 in each pocket.
He just kind of.
Well, he's
Not
one of
like-
us, is he not?
It's like under his armor, so he kind of like does one of these and like has you kind of dropping him on in there, and he just okay. And then as he presses it close to his chest, he says, "I'll go buy a horse."
Yes,
Let's
Rumgar.
go find one.
That is
We will
to
buy them
buy a horse.
together.
Okay.
Keep them there until we decide we need it.
This is the rule: you never let that pocket get all the way empty, unless it's an emergency.
This is the emergency, buying
Yes.
a horse.
If you ever buy yourself, you want to have at least some copper so you can buy food if you don't have us around.
Okay.
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 And with that, you guys all take off to explore Rudon. And we will take off to explore elsewhere for a brief time as we take a quick break. We love you guys. As always, it's been a great pleasure. And we will be back here in about 10 minutes. And hopefully these guys can live up to their namesake finally of being the Four Horsemen.
Can we have some steeds?
Right.
Well,
Please?
technically, aren't we like the 4 weird sand creatures now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
sounds
see what we
right.
could find.
Whatever
we'll see what we
the
got.
4 humanoids will become. We'll see
Horse
after this break.
emojis in the chat. Horse emojis in the chat.
Amazing.
See you guys.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. All right, now, as our adventurers finally just kind of finalized speaking with Vindryl, the ambassador from the Vindryl Dynasty, everybody now gathering a wealth of information for the first time about these 10 great kingdoms. We've now learned countless new things about how to traverse the land, as well as being given a new quest by this man, specifically to save a man that seems to have perhaps gotten lost, hurt, abducted, killed, maybe just chose to leave. Who's to say? But as you guys start your next big adventure, everybody decided that they should probably live up to their name as the Four Horsemen and get some steeds. So, as you all exit the room now, off to this great adventure, you start to hear the low strumming from downstairs, crackling fire from below, and just general chatter as you can make out now the sounds of the guild just a little bit more alive than before, as people seem to be waking and hanging out down at the main lobby, and you make out a few familiar voices. As you start walking your way down, you all being able to look clearly over the railing, start to see 3 very familiar faces and 2 not so familiar faces. So you can see Rowan off in the corner, strumming about, plucking away at a unusual stringed instrument that many of you may not actually be familiar with. And sitting around the fire, turned away from the fire, but towards him, you can see are his sister, Ira, Rodrick, the large red dragonborn, and 2 young women with pin-straight black hair, smaller in stature, and just kind of squatted together beside each other on the bench. As you all walk your way down, you seem to catch Ira's eye as she kind of like looks up to you and kind of gives a motion, and you can see that she quickly hops up from her chair and starts scurrying her way upstairs, to which she meets you all. Hey, it's very good to see you all.
Oh, hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. A very good morning to you.
Well, thank you very much. Listen here. I think you've come into my brother's poor graces, and I think it's been a great misunderstanding. And I do wish you'd just attempt to mend it. He's truly a good man. It's just after the loss of Delarmy, we've been changed, you see, and with it, well, the people here they've been very good to us, but there's only so much that can mend wounds, and he's still not entirely mended, if you know what I mean.
No, I completely understand. First things first, though, an apology is in order.
Very well, if you so see it fit, then you may speak with him yourself. He's right downstairs, and he's playing a jolly tune, and I think that if you so choose it, then just be careful.
Before you go, do you know where there would be an area where we can possibly find some steeds?
States, perhaps ask Rodrick. He knows a little bit more about the local stuff than I do.
Okay. I'll
But,
do that. Thank you.
She looks over. Rodney, do just understand that if you're to speak to him, that he's not normally so...
Abrasive.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you so
Rude.
much. Perhaps. That
Rodrick.
might be
We're
one.
Thick-skulled.
Rodrick,
Sorry.
we're here to make friends.
Yes.
This is a guild after all.
Okay.
Well, with that, I'll see you down there. Good luck. And she turns about. You can see her kind of colorful skirt flowing behind her as it starts to kind of lightly drag on the stairs below her.
Want to nudge Rumgar? You see, Rumgar? Look at that. We did get to catch up to him after all this morning.
Kill or catch?
No, we're catching him.
Okay.
Well, easy on the catching.
You watch as he like
Oh,
pulls his
we
paddle
catch
up
up to him. That's what you
and
say.
holds it both
Sometimes
hands
you just
now,
catch up to them.
kind of arm between two of the like teeth in the paddle.
Rumgar.
Okay.
Friends.
Friends.
Rumgar.
Friends catch.
Please be polite.
Rumgar, I'm gonna try to fix this with my words. If my words don't work, I'm gonna lean in really close. You can bash his head in. At a later time.
That didn't look like you said something
He
good.
just nods at you.
Well, I said if my words don't work, then maybe his words will.
Is that what you said?
Go ahead and roll insight.
Rolling for it.
12.
Oh.
I am very oblivious.
Solid.
I'm oblivious as
Roll the
well.
Amazing.
You know, I'll roll for it, but I
Rodrick
wasn't
is,
interested in making any kind of fuss either way.
Yeah,
I just
I
wanna know
rolled
if
a
I know.
5, so.
An 11. Yeah.
Well,
So none of you know.
He's just killing it. Clearly at
Alright.
peace with Rumgar and the whole crew.
Everyone's wondering why
Get on his
Rumgar was
word.
so like quick to be like,
like, yes.
sure.
It's
The
like,
first
wow.
time he's ever not giving us an issue.
All right, as
Man,
you guys
he's understanding.
take two,
He's learning.
Rumgar following Rodrick in pace as he takes down the stairs, and you can see immediately the tune slows for a second and then quickly picks back up. Quick sigh, seems to kind of look off.
I'm going straight to Radek.
I'm gonna walk up close to him, make sure everyone can see me. In is it like a tavern?
It's
What is it
generally
like?
this kind of open
like a
lobby
lobby?
with,
Yeah,
with
okay, that's what I
benches.
figured
There
it
is kind
was.
of a desk off to the side, but otherwise it's mainly a fire pit with benches surrounding
Okay.
it at two different tiers.
All right, I'm gonna walk up and I'm gonna go. Bravo.
Still playing, just looking you in the eye.
May I join you?
Please do.
You see, music is a spoken language. One that not many are well versed in. But it seems like the two of us speak it fluently.
I suppose we do. What is it to you? But he kind of takes pause for a moment. Doesn't mean we're quite equals in it. Say, some are more well-spoken in certain languages than others.
Well, it's depending on the tune, correct? Sometimes you play a tune that suits your needs, and sometimes I play a tune that suits mine.
He keeps in line with his own, as though to kind of stick it to the man. Still playing. You can see that everybody around is slowly growing uncomfortable. As you approach Roddick. And he just kind of leans over. Hello?
Hey, Radek.
See.
I heard tell that you possibly would know where we could find some steeds around the area.
Big toothy grin. Well, there is one who claims to be able to have everything.
Everything. Is he far?
He's the closest. He's right across the street.
Oh. Well, that's perfect.
You'll see a little silvered grate. Simply knock or scratch at it, and he'll respond accordingly.
Is he friendly?
To some.
To some, well, as you might know, not a lot of people are friendly to us. Is he not gonna like me?
Thinks for a moment. No, you should be fine. go for it.
Shall I tell him you sent me?
Please.
Okay. Okay.
His name is Oz.
Oz? Oh, Oz. Okay. And you said to follow the brick road, or just
Directly down.
to the grate? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. I look over at Rodrick. Is he?
Sitting there.
I'm uncomfortably close to Rowan right now.
As he starts now picking up pace just a little bit, just slowly adding a little bit more as he's looking to you. You can see his foot start to kind of kick as everybody else starts to kind of join in.
Okay. I'm gonna talk over the music. You stay here. Arlyn, you come with me. We'll go look at, find some steeds. Cleave, would you like to stay here with Rumgar or enjoy the music? Or
It
do you
might
want
be best that he and I watch this.
Okay. All right.
Well, you know what? We'll leave Rodrick to it. Because Rodrick can handle this, right, Rumgar?
Rumgar needs to stay with Rodrick.
All right, and I will stay with you.
It's probably a good idea.
All right, let's
go.
carry then.
Let's go, Arlyn.
Where are we going exactly?
Just right across the street, there's a grate. We're supposed to scratch at it, and a man named Oz will come and show us his creatures. All of
Sounds
them.
right out of a fantasy book.
It does. It does. But I'm curious.
I suppose you
first.
Okay. All right. So he goes and carries off down the road outside the door.
Yep.
Okay.
Across the street.
As you guys walk out and cross the street, you can see that in the center of the street there is what looks to be a sewage grate, followed by a small building with sort of a kind of beat up, kind of barren look to it. And there does seem to be some sort of like shuttered off counter to that.
Well, I see the grate. Knock on it.
Very well. So why are we meeting this Oz?
Well, he's supposed to have horses and other creatures that possibly
okay.
could help us. Yeah.
Sure.
Rodrick told me about this gentleman. He hasn't turned us the wrong way yet.
That is true. He's been very hospitable. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I knock on. What is
The grate.
grate?
The grate on the ground. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I kneel down and
Yeah.
knock
And
on the ground.
I take one step back.
As you knock, you hear this like from below. With this weird guttural noise, you hear a slight splashing.
Yeah.
And a moment later, from inside the building beyond, you hear,
Stop that, stop that, stop that, stop it! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
as you see now, like, scratching through the wooden post, you can see pulling up this rough-looking window. You see this small rodent-like creature pop out and just kind of press his body from the building,
I take out my
chasing out
sword.
towards you.
It's like, stop, what are you doing?
We're looking for Oz. Are you Oz?
Frisk!
I'm Oz.
What? Aren't you supposed to be in the grate?
I'm not supposed to... Rodrick.
Yeah. How'd you
Yes. Rodrick.
Can't anyone just knock on a door like normal people?
know? Yeah.
You can
yeah.
see he's got these large kind of mousy ears with kind of a clip out of one of them. You can see singe marks in his fur where patches of his fur are clearly just gone. His once pink nose seems to be kind of blistered and scarred with burn marks.
Ooh.
As you can see some of his whiskers entirely missing. As he speaks, you notice that his entire jaw seems to have like a harder time opening. He's got these large goggles on top of his head and this
Love it.
kind of hefty backpack that seems a little too large for him, just kind of clattering about with his every movement as he walks over to you and all and looks way up at you lot. And he looks to you too. What do you want?
Well, I'm sorry to bother you. I didn't mean to get off on the wrong foot, but we seek steeds or
Well, you can't buy him.
Who?
Don't. No, come here. And he starts motioning you over towards what you can now make out to be his actual shop. As he walks towards
Rodrick,
the
you go
building at the end of the
first.
street.
So I start
I'm behind
following
Arlyn.
him.
All right, you stay there. He closes the door behind him, jumps back up onto the counter, and starts forcing that wooden window up further and further. And you watch as he slowly pulls out this like mallet and with a couple bangs, eventually gets it up, sits cross-legged on the counter. All right. My name is Osmanthus. Yes, like the flower? No, I don't sell them. Anything else you need?
The catchphrase.
I've got. And anything you've got, chances are I need. So what is it I can help you with?
Well,
Arlyn?
we need steeds.
Steeds, yeah, steeds I can do.
Well, what we really need is to traverse through the desert. So whatever
Yes, that's
creature
very
that
true.
can hold us and traverse that. Any ideas?
Yeah, I've got an idea.
Why does everyone
See.
smile so much around here?
You guys made any acquaintance with any others within the Waking Dawn?
Rowan and a couple of other people.
We've had, yes, some
No.
encounters.
That's quite all right. Why don't you lot ask Rowan to come on by my shop, and I'll see if we can work something out
Why do
for
you need
a
him?
reasonable coin.
Though this could be between us. We're
Yes,
seeking
very-
steeds and
You
you
see,
seem
we are
to
not
have
a
some.
part of the Waking Dawn, but we've made some good acquaintance with them.
Well, you see, I've got sort of a deal with the guild where I'm kind of affiliated without necessarily being one of their own, and
Oh, very nice.
as such, I get a few proper deals. I just have to help them out a little bit, as though I were one of them. But, of course, when it comes to finding new steeds and the such, we've got to hire out a few hands. And luckily, Rowan has the ability to get us some.
Rowan. Out of all the members.
Well,
I thought this was going to be easier.
I suppose he's one of them.
Where are
Who
these
else?
steeds that he needs to get?
Smiles. In truth, the one I'm hoping for is Rodrick. But since Rowan lost his party member, Rodrick was forced onto him. And that means if Rowan goes, Rodrick goes.
Oh, well, I
I
suppose we could have a better conversation with Rodrick than with Rowan.
Well,
I don't understand. Why
any
can't we just
official
buy horses?
sales would have to go through me still. Otherwise, it's going to cost a lot more.
What is the meaning of this, though? Do you not have the steeds on hand?
Well, not currently per se, but I have the means to help get them. I
I
have
see,
what
and
the
where do
steeds
you get them?
desire. Well, in the sands.
So we have to go to the sand to get something or to ride on the sand.
You need to pay me enough money, and I will provide them with what they need.
Well,
so
what
that they can get
exactly
the
is enough
steeds.
money?
How much do you have?
Not very much.
Enough to go somewhere else.
That's
How many
true.
steeds
That
do
is
you need?
true. Ideally 4.
Taking pause, he kind of takes a moment, looks about. For 4 steeds, with no money, 40 gold.
40 gold to have the information to go get them?
To get you your steeds.
So we have to ask a favor. from another guild member.
No, you have to pay me. I'll do the rest.
What do you think, Arlyn? We don't know this guy.
And these steeds are a guarantee if we pay you the money.
Of course.
How long? How long will it take?
Kind of thinks on it for a second. 40 gold. Within a day.
Within a day.
He said a day?
He said a day.
We could do a day.
We can do a day, but time is money. How about 35 gold?
35 gold might take a few.
A few days.
That's right.
I guess time is money.
That is true.
I'm going to look at the map that he gave me. How far in distance is it to the rift that we're supposed to go to? Walking.
From what you can see based on where you are to Manshire, it would be pretty far.
I don't see any other choice. Should we ask around, or this is the first source?
I suppose you wouldn't be the right one to ask if there are others.
He smiles. Feel free.
Huh.
I was brought here for a very specific purpose. I'm good at my job.
Okay.
How about 38 gold one day?
38 gold one day. We'll see.
What is this? We'll see.
It means that I have to make a certain payout, I have to give my own goods, and I have to then make good on my trade with the guild to make it worthwhile.
Instead of using other members of the guild, can you use us?
What if we went ourselves to go get these creatures?
Thinks on it for a moment. I suppose that would lessen the burden a little bit.
That way we can leave from getting the steeds to go on our journey instead of wasting a day and
Correct.
then leaving.
30 gold.
30
and
gold.
I might be able to get you something decent at that.
Should we go talk to the others?
Yes, let's converse with the others, and we will return.
And we'll
Very
knock on the
good.
door next time.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will send your regards to Rodrick.
Inside, strumming along, keeping pace to the best of his ability, Rowan looks over to you. What do you want, Rodney? What is it that you're here for this time?
My name.
Your name's been sullied plenty. I don't think you need to do any worse to it.
Is Rodrick Elwood. And I'll demand respect from you. Same that I'll give to you.
I want to make all of Roderick's hair and clothes start gusting a little bit as he's speaking to him. I want to be behind them, but
As he plays, he looks to you with a smile, and you watch as his hair just blows back from his face.
Before he says anything, I stand up. Crowds, gather!
no, sorry, I'm behind him. Hair's probably blowing in his face for him, but his hair's blowing out of
It
his
is
face.
not.
Oh, okay.
How many people are in the lobby?
Currently, it is 4 people aside from Rowan and yourself and Rumgar.
Perfect. I'm gonna walk up to the first person. I'm gonna say, you in for a little crowd interaction?
I'll say the closest one to you in that moment was one of the 2 girls, which you now recognize to be twins. She's not a girl by any means, she's a young woman, but very petite in stature and kind of clearly reserved as she kind of pulls away, and her sister seems to lean in and pipe up. That's all right. I'll go in her stead, if that's okay.
I can show you. I'm gonna grab her hands. I'm gonna lift them to here together, and I'm gonna say, "Can you do this?"
I suppose I can.
Suppose we're all entertainers today. What was your name?
Lane.
Lovely Lane.
Thank you. She's clearly off-put and, like, blushing a little bit. Not quite sure what to do.
I'm gonna look at the rest of the four. I'm gonna say, "Join me."
Do we arrive yet?
No, but you all may play the same parts of the crowd that is currently out and about within, being Rodrick, Rumgar, Lane, Leanne, and Ira.
Here we go.
Heed the song of long-lost brothers. One like this, there is no other. Rowan playing swift and fast. Roderick's voice leaves all aghast. Let the problems come to end. Disagreements come to mend. Let us start a lovely band or meet your end at Rumgar's hand. It's time you saw what I can do. Wish to reach some peace with you. Musicians, we should never bicker, especially with ones much quicker. Hope this song will reach you well amidst this game of show and tell. Together we'll get praise and fun and bring to heal this waking dawn.
Roll a performance check.
That was awesome. Was that AI?
Give him advantage.
No.
13.
13. The one whose hands you were just holding and clapping together seems fully enamored as she... Oh, well done. That was so good. Wow, really? And you can see that Rodrick is just kind of grinning as he looks about, but Ira and Rowan are a little bit different. As Ira's just head down to the ground, eyes clearly just subverted from you. And Rowan is just staring directly at you now.
Let's hear it for your local bard, Rowan Oakley.
Light round of applause. I suppose you think I should be thanking you.
I just think we're more valuable together than apart.
Listen here, Rodrick.
Progress.
I have some respect for the trade. This much is true. You see, I've got aspirations all my own. I'm looking to be the very best, but that's not a title earned easily. And boy, I look very highly. I don't look towards anyone that doesn't have quite a name yet. So the day you make a name for yourself, that's the day I'll show you proper respect as per your choosing. That's it.
Do we walk
So
in
the day I make a name for myself?
Do we want
That's
to
right.
walk into
Yeah, we
this?
should walk into this awkwardness.
What will it take?
There's one man who stands above them all. One man who throughout all the nations is known as the greatest. One man with a voice smooth like no other. They say he lives up to his namesake as Silk. Virgil Silk. This man, he's the greatest. He's the one that I strive to be most like. Find a name in his eyes. Find a name in his eyes, or even surpass him as one day I will.
What
Then,
was his name again?
his name is Virgil Silk.
Virgil Silk.
That's right, the best of the best.
And
I'm
where is
sure
he
you've
located?
heard of him already.
I've heard of all the greatest performers.
Perfect.
Not 20.
Oh!
On a lie, is that what you're
On
saying?
a lie?
This man is number one. if you'll, if you'd like to, that is one of the finer that I'll gladly play a tune to. Perhaps you know it. And he starts playing once again. He says, "Lizard on a humpback, you know this one."
Lizard on a humpback.
Of course.
Yes.
That's a 4? That's a 4 on his insight?
Oh my goodness.
It was a 23.
As he starts playing again, clearly taking this on now, as he is somewhat seeming to acknowledge you based on this prior performance. Go ahead and roll one more performance check to keep in tow as he begins strumming away.
20.
20. Solid. As you start hitting on your hand drum and dancing around a little bit, you watch as Ira, impressed, stands up. She goes, "Oh, come on, girls. They're playing our song." And she starts grabbing them both by the hands, and you see as they start to do a little merry jig, just kind of dancing back and forth, spinning about. And you see as one at a time she twirls each of the girls and starts joyfully just kind of skipping about. And you can see as her legs just frantically leap up, and you can see her knees go high, and she eventually starts kicking back towards her butt and giving odd, unusual, clearly foreign displays of dance you've yet to see in your current travels. She's eclectic, but beautiful in her motion.
Okay. I notice her.
Nice.
I noticed her. Bet you do, Rodrick.
As it continues on, it eventually comes to a slow. As Rowan now kind of looks your way, not with anger, but for the first time, acknowledgement. That one. That was not the worst I've seen, performance-wise. Perhaps next time we can go through and see where you stand on the next.
Yes.
But for now, it would seem I'm being called upon. As
Fair.
he sees Rodrick seems to be standing, he taps his ear. And you can see as Rowan drops his instrument onto his back per strap that was kind of wrapped around him, and Ira stands too and lets go of the hands of the girls. She says, "Oh, is that us?" And he says, "That it is." And you watch as they start making towards the door. And right as they begin walking out towards the door, as they push open the door, Rodrick being at the lead, you can hear this loud bell start to chime. As you hear this doom, doom. And as this bell starts to chime, you can see that Rowan seems to make some sort of hand motion and starts walking off. As you can see, Ira turns back. It's okay, girls. You just stay put. We'll take on this one. He's already sent for us.
What is it?
Oh, it's... Well, whenever there's a roaming band, you see, there's a certain call that goes out to us. And typically it just starts with us, and once we've acknowledged it, we can choose whether or not we want to make it public, but we'd rather everyone be safe, so it's kind of guild policy, if you will, just unspoken rule that we always acknowledge it for the rest of you. And so those chimes, that's what we hear first. It's kind of an old trick that Fadid had set. And so we don't know what we're going out to, but there seemed to be some sort of threat currently. I'll
How
see you
will I
soon.
know that you'll come back?
I suppose that you won't. But, well, shouldn't be much. We've got Rodrick now.
I hope you come back.
Thank you, Rodney.
Rodrick.
With her burning red hair just kind of flipped off to the side, she closes the door behind her and vanishes out the door. And you can see as they scurry back, you guys now meeting them as they make their way out the guild hall. You can see that Rodrick seems to make decent paces. He starts kind of like dropping his weight, using gravity to kind of fall his way down the stairs a little bit. And as he falls, he's kind of very smoothly, despite his figure, using that same gravity to hoist the axe off of his back and drop it into his hand. As you can see now, he goes into this kind of prowl as he drops his head and shoulders, and you can see that he starts getting lower to the ground, beelining it towards the gate once more.
Seems like something's up.
Where are they going?
Perhaps to protect the city? That's what I heard.
Protect the city.
Yes, well, they're going out to investigate. Something roaming about.
Could that have been well,
What?
the hobgoblins?
Do you think?
Let's be honest.
You think they're coming after us?
I think we ought to check on it. I would feel responsible a little bit if they were after us.
Okay, quick question. Our horses, where are they?
Speaking of that, so this Oz man,
Yes.
he does not have the steeds on hand. In fact, he needs people to go out into the desert and get them.
Quick question. If we went to go find them, why would we deliver them to him? Why wouldn't we just, I don't know, keep them?
So,
We wouldn't be delivering it. He would be coming with us. We would be paying him for the knowledge of the location.
Correct. And it
So we
definitely
do the work.
lowered the price.
We do the work and we still pay him to...
Or we could pay him in more and not do the work. It might take longer.
It might be an emergency situation going on.
Or we can go out into the desert and not find anything.
I mean, is there anybody other than Oz that has access to horses? This is
I
a
don't
guild! You're telling me there's no horses?
Maybe
Anywhere
we
in
should
this guild.
see what is going on, and we will continue talking about this later.
I agree.
All right.
Sorry.
Bit of a stressful situation right now. We're all pretty heightened, and it might do us some good in battle.
Okay.
Let's follow.
Let's go.
Nice.
Let's follow far behind. I want to see if I would like to get, entangled in whatever their situation is. I think
Cleave is right. If it is the hobgoblins,
we've been
we
sent
do have a part in this.
on a quest of our own. If this town burns, what of it?
Maybe the intruders have some horses that we can get from them.
I saw no horses. I saw large turtles.
Or
Yes.
stones.
If they are the goblins.
I'm just saying maybe they're not. Maybe they're... Let's just go see what's going on.
If this town is primarily home to a guild of fighters, first, I do like their chances, but second, if you're asking what their worth is, that's people to man the bastions. This may be
Yes.
exactly who we're looking for. In the
That
long
is
term.
true.
Not
but
only
if
that,
you
but
think
we
that
will
we
be able
will-
to show our worth as an adventuring party
We can try.
if we aid them.
Okay, let's go.
Get in the good graces of Iman and Vadid.
Amazing. As you guys spend this time talking, you look back toward the gate, and it's not terribly far from here. You guys start making your way down, and upon just kind of clearing that corner of where the buildings are, you're met with the clear appearance of the three standing guard out front. As you can see, off to the side, kind of leaned up against the back end of the gate, inward towards the village, you can see Rowan just casually laid up against the kind of beams, these large wooden posts, and he's just strumming away a quick tune. And you can very, very faintly hear it off in the distance, as you can see Ira standing there with a short sword in hand, but clearly held back as Rodrick charges forward, where you can now clearly, visibly see that charging forward, there are a series of red goblins.
Oh, man.
And as you turn that corner and you catch them, you watch as Rodrick swings, and what looks like a miss, you see as he turns, he kind of smiles, catching just your gaze for that brief moment. He smiles. You watch as his tail whips out from behind him, underneath, tripping one of the goblins. And as he spins around, he catches it on the back end with his axe, lifting it into the air, at which he, like a flame spitter, just shooting fire into the sky, torching this goblin and slamming its corpse down onto the ground.
Let's go help.
Pulls his shoulders back.
Help him?
Let's go help.
Doesn't seem like he needs much help.
And you can see now that Ira is kind of pulled back and clearly letting him take the lead.
Are the goblins mounted?
There are definitely, there's a small troop of goblins where you can see that 4 of them coming in on mounts and a flurry of
camel-like
goblins,
mounts.
about 10 of them all around.
Let's go help.
Can I tell if they're beasts?
Make a perception check at disadvantage, given the fact that it's just at afar and
Fair
currently behind
enough.
things and in combat and all.
9.
9. They're a little wilder looking. They definitely could be though. It's hard to say. There's no immediate familiarities. You maybe upon closer inspection. But as you all make your way closer and closer, you can see that this has not been something that is fresh. There seem to be a few dead bodies of goblins lying around.
Just in case this all takes a long time, I want to say from the moment I was perceptifying until whenever I have to do something more important, I want to be trying to start ritualing, trying to talk with animals.
Nice. Isn't that like a 10-minute thing?
It takes, I think it takes 10 minutes.
So the entire battle.
If that's how, if something more pressing happens, I just want to have it started, just in case.
Yeah. As you guys now start unsheathing weapons and pulling forward, Arlyn, I think, still probably had his sword out from his meet and greet with Oz.
Probably.
Fully ready. You guys start trucking it over, and you can see that Rowan just kind of looks up and smiles, shaking his head as though to say, we're good.
We still continue.
I'm still going to continue.
We need 4 mounts! I just want to point off into the distance.
We need those mounts.
Are we up? We're up to the gate now?
Now, getting up to pace, Ira kind of turns to you all. Well, welcome. This is, unexpected. Please, just stay back. We've got this handled. And you watch as she charges forward a good 30 feet and is now meeting that front line with Rodrick.
I'm gonna say, no, Ira! I'm gonna take out my bow.
Okay.
I want to attack.
All right. As you guys prep for combat, I'm going to have you guys all roll for initiative next week.
Why would you do that? I was already shaking the hand.
Yeah, I was grabbing it. No
Amazing.
way.
As you guys look about, you cannot make out any hobgoblin presence currently. But you may see them next week. We shall find out soon.
Wow.
I'm so sorry to do that to you guys, as unfortunately today was more of a lore session apparently.
Yeah.
But it is running a little later here, so I'm not gonna push that any later than we have to. That being said, we love you guys. We're so happy you guys could join us. And as they were saying earlier, please, of course, drop any questions, any comments, any replies to anything you guys may have. Any
money in the merch
and
store.
I mean,
any of that.
any input you guys have truly does make a difference. I will gladly accept recommendations on how to torture our players here and what weird creatures to throw their way, how to, bring in new stuff. We definitely plan on running a few different giveaways, contests, things of this sort, and we would love to be able to take in different character references and notes, and at some point be able to have you guys help us build out characters for the stream. So with that being said,
Spars,
again,
by the way.
please check out the merch store. What you got?
As always, Spars.
the
Champ.
GOAT on Twitch.
We do this
right?
for you, Spars.
Campaign suggestion. Everyone has plot armor, and no one dies because I love all the PCs and Barry. I like your idea. I love it.
I'm gonna test that idea to its limit.
I'm very excited for you to see a few of the things I have planned then. I can make 0 guarantees currently. So sorry, but we'll see how the time goes on.
We will never die.
Well, for Spars and anyone else that may be watching now and or in the future, we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining along. And as always, God bless you and have a great week.
See you guys later.
Hey guys, it's Nick. I play Calagon Dör in our campaign, The Four Horsemen, and I'm here to share another message with you. It was this weekend over my morning Bible study. I came across a couple scriptures, and it motivated me to make the message this week about managing anger. So I'm going to read it this time, which isn't normal from my usual videos, but I just want to make sure I get all the information in the small amount of time that we have. So we're going to start at Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26 and 27. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. Anger is a natural emotion we all experience from time to time. Even the calmest among us can feel anger in certain situations. It's important to note that feeling angry isn't inherently wrong. Jesus himself displayed anger when he drove the money changers out of the temple. The key, however, is how we choose to handle our anger. When we respond to people and situations with outbursts of angry words, gestures, or rants, we aren't truly addressing the anger, we're simply venting. And in doing so, it is the people around us who bear the brunt of our outbursts. So how should we deal with anger? I'm still learning how to not react impulsively out of anger. One piece of wisdom that God has impressed on me comes from Proverbs 15, verse 1. It says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." This verse reminds me that when I respond with a soft tone and kind words, it helps diffuse my anger. Often when we vent, our words are sharp, loud, and hurtful. Things we might not normally say slip. The problem with this is that it creates a pattern of angry responses, which can be difficult to break. This is why I believe Ephesians 4, 26 and 27 urges us not to let the sun go down while we are still angry. If we don't address our anger, it can take root, giving the enemy an opportunity to cause further division. Learning to respond with gentleness is a powerful way to break this cycle and keeps our hearts free from resentment. So that's what I have for you this weekend. I hope it blesses you. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Divine Inspiration.